What's up, everybody? Welcome to Hammerdown Motorsports. Welcome to another scorcher here in Pennsylvania. We're going to try to keep this one moving along because I know it's not going to be long before I start sweating like crazy trying to get our next mod put on our 2019 Ram Rebel. Now, for those of you who have been following along on this build right from the beginning, you know one of the first things that we did was the Borla exhaust. And I've absolutely loved the Borla exhaust the whole time I've had it. Never had an issue. Sounds great. All that kind of stuff. We've had many cold starts during the course of the build, and you guys have been able to enjoy it with me. But today we are taking the Borla ATAK off the truck. Now, before you're thinking, why would you do that, Steve? Well, we do have something else in store for you guys, and it is right here from our good friends at AWE Exhaust. Now, this is from AWE Tuning, and they are actually a Pennsylvania-based business, and they sent me out this system for the Ram Rebel. And from what I know, this is one of the first systems to be out in the wild, so I'm very honored to be able to put it on the Rebel and see how it sounds. And you guys be the judge. See how it compares to our Borla. So with that being said, let's do our last cold start with the Borla on our Ram Rebel. And now while the Rebel is warming up a little bit, we do have the Dart over on the lift right now. So we're gonna be backing that one out, give a little chop action for you guys. All right, so we got the truck in the air. We're ready to open up our new kit. Let's get the box open here. Let's see what we got. All right, got some pipes happening here already. Let's kind of lay everything out here. So as you can see on the muffler, it has the 180-degree technology within the muffler. You can see the size of this muffler compared to my hand. And then on the Borla, we definitely have a big size difference just judging by that, but that doesn't necessarily mean that this one's going to be louder, but it might. We can hope. So here's our system. Just got to open up our box. It should have our diamond black tips, and we should also have all our clamps in there as well. Oh yeah, there we go. Some really nice packaging on these. Almost hard to get these out by hand. I'm trying to touch the outside. Look at that. It's almost like a black chrome. Try to get it in the light here for you guys. Check that out. I'm gonna have to make sure to clean these before I actually fire this thing up and heat it up because I don't want to get fingerprints burnt into it, but you kind of see the difference here. We have more like a slant rolled tip with a Borla, and this is kind of more like a slash cut with a double rolled, which actually looks really, really nice. Can't wait to see how it fills the hole in the back compared to these ones. Also, one thing I did worry about with the Borla, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but if you did squish a tip, say you're off-roading or something like that, you can't just unclamp the tip and order a new tip. You'd have to have a new one welded on, or you'd have to replace that whole entire pipe. So now I'm starting to feel the heat a little bit, but it's about time I'm just gonna get this exhaust system pulled out. If you guys are wondering how to pull the stock exhaust system out, obviously I cannot demonstrate that because that stock exhaust is long gone. And I do have that on my Borla exhaust video, just if you guys want to see for reference. I didn't end up having to cut my exhaust to take it off, but I did use the lift in a big way to make that happen because of how far down I had to pull the pipe, but I was able to do it. They do recommend just kind of cutting that pipe in some of the other instructions I've had. So just something to keep in mind if you want to keep your stock exhaust together. It is possible, it's just not the easiest thing in the world. So now I don't always use YouTube magic to get exhaust out, but it is probably like 90-some degrees, and I think it's just gonna be easier this time. So we're gonna remove the Borla exhaust system in 3, 2, 1, just like that. And I wish it was that easy because, yeah, I'm a little bit on the warm side after having to do all that, but it did come out pretty easily. Nothing broke, everything is nice and intact. No big deal whatsoever. I do need to clean these tips up a little bit, but all in all, this exhaust system is still 100%. But speaking of sound, let's try this thing out without any exhaust on it other than just the catalytic converter and everything on the front, and no rear pipes at all. Wow, it's actually really quiet. So there you go, people. If you straight pipe your truck, it doesn't necessarily make it louder. So now you will find in the kit, there is this instructions card, and then you have a little SKU on the back which you can scan with your mobile device, and you can get all the instructions on how to put this together. But I think we're okay. I think I'm gonna be able to put this puzzle together without having to do that, and we'll get everything put in and show you guys how it all looks. And yeah, need I say anymore? So nothing like a good old downpour to take the humidity from 90% up to 100+%, because we're not swimming in our clothes already, so it's all good. We're gonna be just continuing on with this. During the downpour, I just kind of took all the pieces from our AWE system and set it in place. I even have one of our tips kind of just in place just to see for depth and all that kind of thing. But let's just take a quick look at which pieces go where and kind of see what that system looks like somewhat completed. All right, so here we have our factory pipe, and you can see how it meets to our flange on our AWE system, much like the Borla did. The Borla actually used the factory bolts, which are kind of getting rusty, and had a flange that was threaded. The AWE system actually gives you bolts and nuts, which are anti-corrosion, which is really nice, so you don't have to worry about those bolts ever snapping off in there. Then we have our muffler right there. That goes up to a Y pipe right there. Then over on the right-hand side, we have this pipe connecting to our Y pipe, going back and connecting to this final tailpipe right here. And then at the very end, we have our diamond tips. And I gotta tell you, I really like the way these look. That slash cut with the double rolled and the glossy chrome look, that looks really, really good on the back here. Kind of breaks up the rear bumper a little bit. I did like the Borla ones. They are pretty big, but they definitely get dirty pretty easily. And well, it's my own fault. I didn't keep them clean, but I think these ones might just be a little bit easier. And one thing I noticed that's different about this kit as well is they do have just an open-ended hanger on it. It doesn't have that little kind of diamond on the end that the factory ones do, which are a real pain to get off sometimes. And they do give you a aluminum retainer. So once you get this where you want it, nicely centered, you can actually lock that into place. And then you're not gonna have to worry about having to adjust that later as everything moves, because obviously this is hooked up to the engine, the whole truck, everything's gonna be moving, and sometimes you have to readjust later. All right, so before we get another downpour, it's already starting, I can hear it. I have everything nicely tightened up here. This one, I think I'm just gonna have to move it over just a tiny little bit. I think that's pretty well where I want it right there. This one is pretty much where I want it as well. You do have adjustment in and out. You have enough meat on here where if you want them out further or in further, whatever, you can make that decision yourself. Then we do have these right here, which are a little aluminum piece with a Allen key in it and a little set screw. And then you install this collar right here on the end so you can keep it from moving in or out, and it's gonna keep your tips nice and straight as everything moves around as we drive down the road. But before we get a downpour, let's get a cold start real quick. Whoa. I don't know if you guys can hear that like I can. Oh, it is very different. It is definitely a totally different note than the Borla. But I have to say, my first impressions of this exhaust, very, very good. I absolutely love that little growl it's got when it starts up. It's a little different than the Borla. It's got a very distinct sound to it, and I'm liking it so far. So now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lock in these pipes, make sure everything's right exactly where I want it. I can set it down on the ground, make sure I have my final adjustments done on the tips, and we can give this thing another start up and give you guys a couple of revs. Also in the kit, I got a decal here, so if you want to put this on your rear window and rep for the brand. For me, I'm probably gonna put it on my lift just because I have had the rear window replaced on this truck already, and well, I don't wanna have to get another one if I have to do that again. So I'm just gonna put it on the lift because that's more of a permanent place where it can be on display. And also I did get a grape blow pop as well, right in the kit. So can't go wrong with a little extra candy. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna lower this thing down, and probably the next time I have it up on the lift, I'm going to be checking all my connections just to make sure they remain tight. So let's get this thing on the ground and fire it up. So you guys heard that cold start. Here is just the idle rumble. Oh, I love the sound of this thing already. It's not that I didn't love the ATAK exhaust. This is just different. I can't explain it. You guys could probably hear the differences too. We'll kind of do another video where I put these both side by side. I already have some pre-recorded clips of the previous exhaust, but let's enjoy this one because it's definitely, it's hard to explain kind of right off the bat, but it's very different. In the cab, it's quieter on the idle, it's quieter on the startup, but the rev is so good. Check this out. It definitely has that rasp to it. So let's get it lined up over here and we'll do an acceleration. So I gotta say, that definitely kept me smiling. So there's definitely no regrets in putting on the AWE exhaust. Just gonna go over the box here real quick, give you guys the part number. This is one of my more commonly asked questions, is what is the part number of this exact system? Okay, part number 3015-33006. Definitely head over to AWE Tuning. I will have a link for their website in the description. Big thanks to AWE Tuning for sending out this system for me. I'm definitely going to be enjoying this very much, and hopefully the neighbors don't hate me even more than they already do, but most of my neighbors like the exhaust, so they'll love me even more. So it could be a win-win. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We will be doing more with the AWE Tuning exhaust. Obviously, it's gonna be living on the truck for a very long time, and we're gonna be going to have some fun with it, showing you guys how it all reacts with all the things that we put the truck through, and just how the whole system works in the future as we go through daily life and all that kind of thing. Super cold starts, wintertime, all that fun stuff that we get to experience here in Pennsylvania. And who knows, maybe we'll be heading down to AWE Tuning at some point, and maybe we'll get some exhaust for maybe one of our other vehicles. You never know. But the future is always full of new possibilities, and you never know what's gonna happen. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, and as always, keep that hammer down.